Hello everyone, and welcome. I'm excited to have you here today. We're about to dive into a powerful journey with the tools for confidence, clarity, and growth. The focus of this presentation is on mindset reprogramming with NLP, which is all about transforming the way we think and perform. Over the next few slides, we'll explore practical techniques to boost your confidence, gain clarity, and accelerate your growth. I'm glad you're here, so let's get started. Let's start by exploring the foundations of mindset and neuro-linguistic programming. These are the core principles that shape how we perceive ourselves and the world around us. Understanding these foundations helps us unlock our potential and create lasting change. Next, we'll focus on developing self-awareness and mapping our internal programming. This means becoming more conscious of our thoughts, beliefs, and habits, and understanding how they influence our behavior. By doing this, we gain clarity and control over our mindsets. We'll then look at reframing and transforming limiting beliefs. These are the beliefs that hold us back, but the good news is, with the right techniques, we can shift our perspective and replace them with empowering ones. Moving forward, we'll discuss emotional state management and building confidence. Managing our emotions effectively allows us to stay resilient and energized, which is essential for personal growth and leadership. Finally, we'll explore language patterns for influence and self-leadership. The words we choose have a powerful impact, not only on how others perceive us, but also on how we shape our own mindset and actions. Throughout this journey, these concepts connect to help us create a more positive, intentional, and influential mindset. This foundation is crucial for achieving the success and fulfillment we're aiming for. Today, we'll be diving into the foundations of mindset and NLP, which are crucial for understanding how we can shape our thoughts and behaviors effectively. We'll explore the key concepts that underpin these areas, highlighting how our mindset influences our actions and outcomes. NLP, or neuro-linguistic programming, offers powerful tools to reprogram our thinking patterns and communication styles. As we go through this, I want you to think about how these principles connect to the overall theme of personal development and mastery. These foundations set the stage for everything else we'll cover, helping you build a solid mental framework for success. So, let's get started by understanding what mindset really is and how NLP can enhance our ability to achieve our goals. So, as we look at this slide, I want to emphasize that having an adaptive mindset is linked to higher performance and greater satisfaction, whether we're talking about education or business. When someone adopts a growth mindset, they tend to see obstacles not as threats, but as opportunities to learn and grow. On the other hand, a fixed mindset treats challenges more like threats, which can trigger defensiveness and make people less willing to take risks. This often limits their progress and resilience. But when we reframe challenges as opportunities, it really strengthens resilience, enhances learning, and encourages follow-through. That's the power of a growth mindset. Ultimately, our mindset shapes the outcomes we experience. By fostering a growth mindset, we set ourselves up for better results and more fulfilling experiences across all areas of life. Every behavior has a positive intention behind it. That means that, no matter what action someone takes, there is usually a purpose or a reason behind it, even if the outcome isn't what we desire. Recognizing this helps us understand others better and approach situations with more empathy. People have all the resources they need. Each individual already possesses the internal tools and strengths necessary to achieve their goals. Sometimes, they just need help uncovering or accessing those resources. There's no such thing as failure, only feedback. When we make mistakes, they're simply opportunities to learn and grow. Instead of seeing failure as a dead end, we can see it as a vital part of the process that guides us toward success. Flexibility is key to success. The ability to adapt our strategies and approaches when things don't go as planned is crucial. It's often the most flexible among us who find the best solutions and achieve their goals. And remember, the map is not the territory. Our perception of reality is inherently subjective. Everyone interprets the world through their own internal map, shaped by their experiences, beliefs, and values. Recognizing this helps us communicate more effectively and avoid misunderstandings. Finally, communication is redundant. Meaning isn't conveyed solely through words. It's expressed through multiple channels: tone, body language, gestures, and more. Being aware of these channels allows us to connect more deeply and ensure our message is truly understood. These principles are the core NLP presuppositions, fundamental ideas that guide how we see ourselves, others, and the world, and that help us foster better communication and internal change. Let's talk about influence and the mind today. When we look at behavior, research shows that about 95% of what we do is driven by our subconscious mind, with only around 5% being conscious. That's a huge difference, and it highlights how much of our actions happen beneath our awareness. Now, in terms of processes, the conscious mind tends to be analytical and deliberate. It's the part we use when we're making decisions intentionally or solving problems. On the other hand, the subconscious mind is more emotional and instinctive. It responds quickly based on long-term conditioning and habits. The subconscious controls automatic functions like breathing or blinking, but it also shapes our habits and influences our behavior without us realizing it. It's like the silent driver behind the scenes. Meanwhile, the conscious mind is where logical thinking and short-term decision-making happen, the part we're aware of and can focus on deliberately. Understanding the difference between these two is key, because it helps us see how much of what guides us is automatic and rooted in subconscious patterns, while the conscious mind is more about intentional control. Recognizing this dynamic is essential for influencing behavior and making meaningful changes. Cognitive linguistics shows us that simply changing the way we phrase something can actually shift the internal meaning we assign to it. This shift can influence our emotional responses and even our behaviors, which is a key reason why reframing is such a powerful tool in NLP. When we talk about why reframing works, it's important to understand that our inner experience, visual images, sounds, and bodily sensations all come together to create a mental representation. This mental picture then drives our emotions, where we focus our attention, and ultimately, the decisions we make. Words play a crucial role here because they structure these mental models. They shape what we see, hear, and feel inside our minds, guiding how we process information and what kind of results we get. The core idea behind all this is that language doesn't just communicate, it actively shapes our internal representations. When we understand this, we see how powerful language can be in influencing our internal world, and consequently, our external actions. Alright, so on this slide, we're looking at how our conditioning strength varies across different life stages. Starting from early childhood, where the conditioning strength is at its highest, 9 out of 10, we're most impressionable, and our patterns are formed quite strongly. Moving into adolescence, the conditioning strength is still high at 7 out of 10, which shows how influential those years are in shaping who we are. During young adulthood, it slightly decreases to 6 out of 10, but it's still significant. As we reach midlife, the conditioning strength drops to 5 out of 10, indicating that while patterns are still present, they're perhaps more flexible or less ingrained. When we get to discovery, with a strength of 3 out of 10, it suggests that this is a period where we're more open to change and new insights. Finally, in the change phase, the conditioning strength is only 2 out of 10, highlighting how, at this point, we're actively working to modify or challenge those ingrained patterns. This progression really underscores how our early experiences leave lasting imprints, but also how, over time, we can consciously discover and reshape our personal patterns. It connects to the overall theme of this presentation, how awareness and intentional effort can help us grow beyond our conditioned habits. Now, let's take a look at this important statistic. Of individuals with empowering beliefs, a significant 72% report higher achievement levels. This is compared to those holding limiting beliefs. What this tells us is that the mindset we carry, whether empowering or limiting, has a real impact on our success. When we believe in our potential and maintain a positive outlook, we're much more likely to achieve our goals. This ties directly into the overall theme of this presentation, the power of mindset. It's clear that fostering empowering beliefs can make a tangible difference in our performance and results. Today, I want to talk about developing self-awareness, which is a crucial part of our overall growth journey. Self-awareness is really about understanding who we are, our strengths, our weaknesses, our values, and our emotions. When we develop this skill, we start to see ourselves more clearly, which helps us make better decisions and build stronger relationships. It's important to recognize that self-awareness is not a one-time thing. It's an ongoing process. It involves honest reflection and sometimes even feedback from others to see ourselves from different perspectives. By doing this, we can identify areas for improvement and celebrate what we do well. Connecting this to the overall theme of personal development, developing self-awareness empowers us to take control of our growth. It's the foundation that allows us to adapt, learn, and improve continuously. So, I encourage you all to be curious about yourselves, ask questions, and embrace this journey of self-discovery. All right, let's talk about automatic thoughts. These are quick, often subconscious interpretations of what's happening around us. For example, you might think, "They're ignoring me," without even realizing it. Because these thoughts come so rapidly and seem like facts, they can instantly change how we feel, maybe causing us to feel tight in the chest, angry or anxious, before we even stop to evaluate if they're accurate. Now, triggers are different but related. They're cues, things like certain people, tones of voice, places, or physical sensations, that remind us of past experiences. These cues can signal threat, rejection, or loss based on what we've learned before. The brain makes a quick connection. Cue leads to meaning, which leads to emotion, and then to an action tendency. So even a small trigger can cause a big reaction if it taps into a sensitive theme or past hurt. This is where mindfulness and self-monitoring come into play. Practicing mindfulness helps us strengthen our ability to notice these thoughts and cues without immediately reacting. It creates a pause, giving us a moment to choose how to respond rather than just reacting automatically. Self-monitoring, like brief check-ins or keeping logs, helps us see patterns over time. When we recognize these patterns, it becomes easier to reframe our thoughts and choose more intentional, healthier responses. For example, if your manager says "quick chat," you might automatically think, "I'm in trouble," feel anxious, and then want to avoid. Or if your partner is quiet after work, you might think, "They're upset with me," feel tension, and then feel the urge to criticize or withdraw. Recognizing these automatic thoughts and triggers as they happen is a powerful step toward improving our emotional regulation. Let's take a closer look at the different sensory modalities and how people process information. First, we have the kinesthetic learners. These individuals learn best through feeling and touch, meaning they really benefit from hands-on activities and movement. They make up about 5% of the population, so while they're a smaller group, understanding their needs is crucial for effective teaching. Then there's the auditory learners, who process experiences primarily through hearing. They tend to remember sounds, voices, and spoken instructions very well. This group is the largest, comprising about 30%, so it's important to incorporate auditory elements into our teaching approaches. Finally, the most common modality is visual learning. Visual learners rely heavily on sight. They visualize concepts and remember images vividly. This group makes up approximately 65% of people, highlighting the importance of incorporating visual aids into our lessons. Understanding these sensory modalities helps us tailor our teaching strategies to meet diverse learning preferences, ultimately making our instruction more effective and engaging for everyone. Let's talk about how recognizing recurring negative patterns in our internal dialogue can be transformative. When we notice these patterns, we can actively reframe them into more constructive and actionable thoughts. This shift not only helps us feel better mentally, but also empowers us to take positive steps forward. Now, the NLP approach plays a key role here. It focuses on understanding and changing how we think and communicate internally. Research shows that positive self-talk is linked to better performance, whether it's in sports or academics. So, the way we talk to ourselves truly impacts our outcomes. And there's more. Our internal self-talk shapes our confidence, motivation, and even how much stress we experience. Interestingly, much of this happens without us even realizing it, which is why becoming aware of these patterns is so important. In the bigger picture, identifying these internal dialogue patterns helps us take control of our mental health. By actively working to reframe negative thoughts, we create a healthier, more resilient mindset that supports our overall well-being. Let's take a closer look at the concept of emotional response loops. At the start, we have the cue, which can be something external like a stressor or an internal trigger such as a thought or feeling. This cue sets off the loop by evoking an emotional response. Think of feelings like anxiety, excitement, or frustration. That emotional response then leads to a specific action or behavior, such as checking your phone, eating comfort food, or other habits you might have. These actions are often attempts to manage or escape the emotional state. Now, here's where reinforcement comes in. When you perform the behavior, it often provides some form of reward or relief, which reinforces the loop, making it more likely to happen again in the future. This cycle can become maladaptive over time, trapping us in patterns that aren't helpful. But that's where NLP interventions can be powerful. They help us disrupt these cycles and replace them with healthier responses. By understanding and mapping out these loops, we can target specific points, like the emotional response or the reinforcement, to change the pattern overall. So, recognizing these loops is a crucial step in managing and transforming our emotional reactions into more adaptive, positive behaviors. Let's take a moment to consider the importance of self-awareness. It's often called the cornerstone of personal transformation, and there's a good reason for that. Without a clear understanding of our own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, any change we attempt can only be superficial. Essentially, if we don't really know ourselves, we might go through the motions of change, but true growth remains out of reach. This idea ties back to our overall theme of self-regulation, because awareness is the first step in managing and guiding our actions effectively. When we develop a deeper self-awareness, we can identify what needs to change and why, which makes our efforts more intentional and lasting. So, in essence, cultivating self-awareness is not just about introspection. It's about laying the foundation for meaningful, lasting change. These skills are all about supporting safe exploration of our inner experience, which is essential for making meaningful change. One key concept is the metaposition, where we adopt an observer perspective. This means noticing our thoughts and feelings as separate from who we are, helping us create some emotional distance. Next is curiosity inquiry, where we approach our inner experiences with genuine curiosity. Asking ourselves, what is this feeling trying to tell me? Can open up new insights and reduce resistance. Thought diffusion is another powerful tool. Imagine visualizing your thoughts as passing clouds or leaves on a stream. This helps us see them without getting caught up in their emotional pull. It's about reducing their impact on us. Breath awareness is a simple yet effective technique. By anchoring our attention to our breath, we gently bring ourselves back whenever our mind drifts to other thoughts or feelings. The body scan involves systematically focusing on different parts of our body, noticing sensations without judgment. This helps us stay grounded and present. Nodding is about labeling our thoughts and feelings as they happen, things like thinking or worrying, which creates a bit of mental space and awareness. All these techniques foster non-judgmental awareness, which is crucial for emotional regulation. When we practice mindful observation, we develop a compassionate curiosity that supports safe exploration and ultimately, transformation. Let's talk about how logging emotions, contexts, and triggers can really build our awareness. When we do this consistently, it supports what some call NLP style, conscious reprogramming. Essentially, by making small, deliberate adjustments over time, we can shift our patterns and reactions. Tracking our states and triggers helps us see the bigger picture of how we respond to different situations. Research suggests that expressive writing is a powerful tool. It's been shown to improve our mood and help us process our thoughts more clearly. When we organize our experiences into narratives, it becomes easier to understand and work through them. Expressive writing also supports mood regulation. By putting our internal thoughts onto paper, journaling becomes a way to strengthen self-regulation. It makes our habits and recurring thought loops more visible, so we can notice and name them more easily. Externalizing our thoughts in this way helps us see patterns that might otherwise stay hidden. It's like shining a light on what's really going on beneath the surface. And of course, there are practical tools to help us with this. Journaling and tracking are simple yet effective ways to stay engaged with our emotional and mental states. Remember, the key is consistency. Small steps over time lead to meaningful change. Today is March 22nd, 2026, and we're focusing on how to reframe and transform limiting beliefs. These beliefs can often hold us back without us even realizing it, shaping how we see ourselves and what we think we're capable of. The key here is to recognize these beliefs for what they are, just thoughts, not facts. Once we identify them, we can challenge and change them. Reframing involves shifting our perspective, looking at the situation from a different angle and asking, is this really true? Or what evidence do I have that supports or contradicts this belief? By doing this, we start to weaken the power of these limiting thoughts. Transforming these beliefs is about replacing them with empowering ones, beliefs that support our growth and goals. It's a process that takes practice, patience, and consistency, but it's essential for breaking through barriers and unlocking our full potential. Remember, our mindset is a powerful tool. When we actively work to reframe and transform limiting beliefs, we align ourselves more closely with our true capabilities and our overall journey of growth and success. Let's talk about how beliefs form and stick around. Beliefs develop through experience, learning, and emotion. When we're repeatedly exposed to certain situations or messages, especially early in life, these experiences become ingrained. Social conditioning and emotional reinforcement play big roles here. Think about how caregivers, culture, and routines create strong patterns of what we consider true or safe. Now, once these beliefs are formed, they tend to stick because of repetition. This repetition actually strengthens the neural pathways associated with those beliefs. From a neuroscience perspective, when we rehearse a thought or get rewarded for it, the connections in our brain become more efficient. That makes the belief easier to access and harder to change over time. So, why does this matter for changing beliefs? Well, effective strategies focus on replacing old reinforcement loops with new ones. That means pairing new evidence with repeated practice and emotionally meaningful experiences. Over time, this helps create new pathways that can compete with and eventually override the old ones, leading to lasting change. Let's explore how limiting beliefs can act as internal barriers that hold us back from reaching our full potential. One common way they manifest is as a sense of helplessness or a feeling that we lack agency. To identify these, I recommend doing a belief audit, which helps us distinguish between what is actually a fact and what is just a perception. For example, believing, "I can't control outcomes," is a typical limiting belief that we can challenge with this method. Another frequent obstacle is comparison-driven doubts. We often think others are more capable or deserving, but guided questioning can help us scrutinize these assumptions and see their flaws. Moving on, perfectionism and the fear of judgment are also powerful barriers. Self-assessment tools can reveal how much these fears influence our decisions, like feeling we must not fail at all costs. Fear-based thinking, such as believing change is too risky, can prevent us from taking necessary steps forward. Reflective journaling is an excellent way to surface these underlying fears. Many of these beliefs are linked to how we see ourselves, like thinking, "I don't deserve success," or "I'm not good enough." These often stem from past experiences or negative self-talk, and guided questioning can help uncover their origins and triggers. Most importantly, these limiting beliefs are usually unconscious. They act as internal obstacles that restrict what we're capable of achieving. By using tools like belief audits and guided questioning, we can identify and challenge these barriers. Recognizing these issues is the vital first step toward reprogramming our mindset and unlocking our true potential. Now let's take a closer look at slide 21, which outlines the 6-step flow of NLP reframing techniques. This process is designed to help us shift the meaning of a situation, reduce emotional charge, and open up new options for behavior and thought. We start with step 1, identifying the trigger. This is about recognizing the specific situation or thought that's causing emotional distress or limiting beliefs. Once we've pinpointed that, we move to step 2, clarifying the meaning. Here, we explore your current interpretation and emotional response to that trigger, gaining a clear understanding of how it's affecting you. Next comes step 3, selecting the type of reframing. You have the choice between content reframing, which involves changing the meaning of the event, or context reframing, which shifts the situation itself to a different perspective or environment. This choice depends on what's most effective in your particular case. Then, in step 4, applying the technique. Using NLP methods, we work to shift your perspective and reinterpret the event or thought. This is where the actual mental work happens, reframing the story you tell yourself about the situation. Following that, step 5, integrating the new perspective. This involves adopting the reframed meaning, which helps reduce emotional charge and expand your behavioral options, making it easier to respond differently in the future. Finally, in step 6, evaluating the outcome. We assess how effective the reframing has been, reinforcing positive change and ensuring that new, healthier patterns are established in both therapeutic and personal contexts. Throughout this process, the key is to understand that reframing isn't just about changing how you see things. It's about transforming your emotional response and broadening your possibilities for action. And research, including clinical reports, suggests that these techniques are highly effective in therapeutic settings, helping clients create meaningful change. Now, on this slide, we see the powerful concept of transforming negative meanings into empowering interpretations. Essentially, what we're looking at is how participants who undergo meaning transformation interventions report significant improvements in their resilience and emotional health. Specifically, about 68% of them, which is quite a substantial proportion, experience these positive changes. What this tells us is that by reframing how we interpret challenging experiences, we can foster greater emotional strength and adaptability. This idea ties back to the overall theme of our presentation, highlighting the importance of mindset shifts and cognitive strategies in promoting well-being. It's a reminder that our perceptions are not fixed. They can be reshaped to support our growth and resilience. Let's start by recalling a peak resourceful moment you've experienced. Think about a time when you felt confident and at your best. Now, choose a consistent anchor point, like pressing gently on your wrist, to help you access that feeling more easily in the future. Once you've identified this anchor, run a small real-world experiment, perhaps during a stressful moment, to press that point and see if it helps you tap into that resourceful state. This anchors your feeling and provides tangible proof that you can access it when needed. Next, focus on one supportive belief that you want to reinforce. Say it out loud with clarity, and at the same time, adopt a confident posture, open stance, shoulders back, and breathe confidently. This somatic pair, belief plus body language, cements that belief in your mind and body, making it more real and accessible. Then, spend about 30 seconds affirming that belief, maintaining your posture and breathing steadily. It's about embedding that positive message into your body language and physiology. Finally, close your eyes and rehearse a future success scene. Visualize yourself achieving your goal. Notice what you see around you, what you hear, and how you feel as if it's happening right now. This visualization, lasting 2 to 3 minutes, helps your brain experience success vividly, reinforcing your confidence and readiness. These exercises, anchoring, affirmations with posture, and visualization, are powerful tools to reinforce your supportive beliefs and keep you centered and resourceful as you face challenges. Let's take a closer look at how NLP techniques can truly transform lives. On this slide, we see a powerful example of a self-esteem boost. Through specific NLP methods, an individual was able to rebuild their self-confidence, which in turn opened doors to new opportunities they might not have considered before. This highlights how effective structured NLP approaches are. they consistently produce positive results across different areas of life, whether personal, professional, or relational. Now, moving to relationship growth, we see that belief transformation plays a crucial role. When someone shifts their core beliefs, it often leads to better communication and stronger connections with family and friends. This underscores an important lesson. Mindset really matters. Changing how we see ourselves and the world can unlock untapped potential and lead to meaningful changes in how we relate to others. Next, in the context of career advancement, we have a compelling case of someone overcoming limiting beliefs about leadership. By doing so, they achieved a promotion and felt more satisfied in their work. The key outcome here is empowerment, feeling more in control, more resilient. These qualities show up in everyday decisions and overall performance. Finally, these case studies really illustrate how belief transformation can serve as a cornerstone for personal and professional growth. They remind us that shifting our mindset isn't just about feeling better. It's about creating lasting change that influences every aspect of our lives. Let's talk about a key takeaway from behavioral science that can really help us make lasting changes. It's all about prioritizing consistency and frequency over intensity. Instead of trying to overhaul everything at once or making massive efforts occasionally, focus on doing small, manageable actions regularly. This approach creates more sustainable change over time. Now ask yourself, what did I learn today? And what's one next step I can take? Pair these reflections with a daily cue, maybe right after meetings or just before bed, to reinforce your new habits. These prompts help turn insights into consistent actions. Reflective questioning is a powerful tool. Use present tense, behavior-linked statements like I am trying, I am learning, or I am persisting. Repeating these during transitions keeps your focus on effort and progress, making growth feel more natural. Positive affirmations are also critical. Write down 3 specific wins or supports you noticed today. Keep these under 2 minutes. This quick practice helps reinforce your successes and builds momentum. Gratitude journaling is another simple yet effective practice. When you do it daily and consistently, it supports neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, and makes it easier to access a growth-oriented mindset over time. All these daily routines, being consistent with them, really underpin the idea that growth isn't about huge leaps but steady, persistent effort. By embedding these practices into your daily life, you foster a mindset that embraces continuous development and resilience. Today, I want to focus on emotional mastery and confidence, which are crucial components of personal growth. Emotional mastery is about understanding and managing our emotions effectively, rather than being controlled by them. When we gain this skill, we can respond thoughtfully in challenging situations instead of reacting impulsively. Confidence, on the other hand, comes from a deep sense of self-awareness and competence. It's not about arrogance, but about trusting ourselves and our abilities. Together, these qualities create a powerful foundation for success. When you master your emotions, you're better equipped to handle setbacks, and setbacks don't shake your confidence as much. This synergy helps us stay resilient and maintain a positive mindset, even in difficult circumstances. Remember, developing emotional mastery and confidence is a journey. It's about consistent effort and self-reflection. By integrating these skills into your daily life, you'll find that you can approach challenges with a calmer, more assured attitude. Ultimately, this not only enhances your personal effectiveness, but also strengthens your relationships and leadership capabilities. So, keep working on these areas. They're essential for achieving your full potential. Let's take a closer look at the neurochemical basis of emotion. Emotions are essentially a reflection of coordinated activity in the brain, and this activity is heavily influenced by neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. These chemicals play a crucial role in shaping how we experience reward, motivation, mood stability, and our reactivity to stress. Understanding this connection helps us see why certain emotional states can impact our mindset and behavior so profoundly. For example, positive emotions can enhance our attention, improve learning, and support better decision-making. They also lower our perception of threat, which reduces stress responses and allows us to behave more flexibly and constructively. This knowledge is powerful because, by understanding these physiological levers, we can apply NLP techniques to intentionally shift our emotional state. This purposeful emotional management can bolster resilience, help us reframe challenging situations, and maintain more consistent performance, especially under pressure. Now, specifically looking at how dopamine and serotonin influence performance, these neurochemicals directly shape our emotional states, which in turn affect how well we perform. When we understand the neurochemistry behind emotions, we gain valuable insights into optimizing our mindset and actions. Now, let's talk about how to effectively use anchoring in real situations. The idea is to trigger your anchor whenever you want to access a feeling of confidence or calmness in your daily life. This means you can bring yourself back to that positive state whenever you need it most. Next, it's important to repeat and reinforce this process. Practice pairing your chosen anchor with the desired feeling multiple times. The more you do this, the stronger and more automatic the association becomes. When you're ready to apply your anchor, activate it at the peak of experiencing that emotion. Fully immerse yourself in the feeling of confidence or calmness while engaging your anchor. This helps cement the connection even more deeply. Choosing a unique anchor is also key. It could be a specific gesture, a touch, or even a word, something that uniquely signifies that state for you. This distinctiveness ensures your anchor is reliable and effective. Then, recall a peak experience. Think back to a moment when you felt that emotion strongly and vividly. This vivid memory helps you connect more deeply to the state you want to anchor. Finally, identify the desired state you want to access, such as confidence or calmness. Having this clear goal allows you to focus your anchoring efforts effectively. By applying these steps, you can harness anchoring to access empowering states whenever you need them, making this a powerful tool in your overall personal development journey. Research in clinical psychology strongly supports these approaches for reducing anxiety symptoms and helping people develop better coping patterns. When we talk about evidence-based techniques, cognitive behavioral therapy and NLP are at the forefront. They focus on shifting your focus, helping you reinterpret cues, and changing emotional responses at those critical moments when anxiety tends to spike. Now, one of the key ideas here is disrupting the cycle. Fear, anxiety, and self-doubt often reinforce each other, creating a loop that keeps us stuck. This cycle can lead to self-limiting behaviors because we're so focused on threats and avoidance. It's like being caught in a trap where the more we worry or avoid, the stronger the cycle becomes. Understanding how this loop sustains itself is crucial. If we don't address it, it just keeps feeding into itself, reinforcing the fear and anxiety each time. That's why breaking these cycles of fear is so important. By doing so, we can interrupt this pattern, reduce anxiety, and open up new, healthier ways of coping. This connects to the overall theme of empowering individuals to regain control over their emotional responses and build resilience. Let's take a closer look at the improvements we've seen in performance metrics following our NLP-based emotional state training. As you can see, there's a notable increase of 23%. This data really supports what sports psychology research has shown us, that focusing on emotional states can lead to real gains in sustained focus and confidence. What's fascinating is how techniques like state elicitation and adjusting submodalities help in building that focus and confidence. These methods allow athletes to deliberately access and maintain optimal emotional states, which translates directly into better performance. This ties back to our overall theme, harnessing the power of NLP to improve mental resilience and peak performance. When we can fine-tune our emotional responses, we set ourselves up for success both on and off the field. Let's explore how self-trust can be cultivated and strengthened through practical strategies. First, combining NLP techniques with mindfulness helps reinforce a positive internal dialogue, which is essential for reframing adversity. Research shows that resilience, which is our ability to bounce back from setbacks, is closely linked to better mental health outcomes over time. When we talk about recovery from setbacks, it's really about bouncing back quickly after difficulties or failures. One powerful NLP technique for this is future packing, visualizing successful outcomes to boost our self-trust and resilience. This helps us imagine ourselves succeeding, making it more likely we'll act confidently in real situations. Positive self-talk is another key component. Maintaining encouraging internal dialogue can significantly boost our confidence. Using NLP's anchoring technique, we can set specific cues that trigger positive emotional states and reinforce our self-assurance whenever we need it. Adaptability is also vital. Being able to adjust to changing circumstances and stay flexible during stress helps us navigate challenges more effectively. Reframing is an NLP technique that allows us to change the meaning we assign to difficult events, viewing them instead as opportunities for growth. All these strategies, visualization, positive self-talk, anchoring, and reframing, work together to develop emotional resilience and self-trust, reinforcing our capacity to handle life's ups and downs with confidence. Let's talk about how mentally rehearsing a calm state can really make a difference. By visualizing ourselves feeling calm and then linking that to a specific, repeatable action, we create a powerful tool to maintain positive states. This approach helps us stay grounded and also access that calmness under pressure when we need it most. For example, visualization, what NLP calls a mental rehearsal, can be a very effective ritual. When we close our eyes and picture ourselves handling a situation smoothly, we're training our brain to respond calmly in real life. Another simple but effective ritual is slow, deep breathing. When we take deliberate, deep breaths, it helps reduce arousal and calms our nervous system. The key is to use a consistent cue, like a certain time of day, a specific place, or a particular posture, that signals our body to switch into this calm state automatically. Over time, this becomes second nature. Structured, repeated actions are especially good because they engage our parasympathetic nervous system, the part of our nervous system responsible for rest and digest. When this system is activated, it supports a calmer baseline and allows us to have steadier emotional responses, even in challenging moments. So, the reason rituals work from a physiological perspective is that they create predictable patterns that our body learns to associate with calm and stability. This connection reinforces emotional regulation and helps us manage stress more effectively. Overall, building these rituals into our routine can be a game changer for maintaining emotional balance, especially when facing high-pressure situations. Together, these strategies, posture, purposeful movement, mental practice, and body state cues, actually work to boost self-efficacy. There's solid experimental evidence showing that mental rehearsal and paying attention to body cues can make a real difference. So why does this combo work so well? Well, when you adopt a confident posture or move intentionally, your brain receives signals that say, "I am safe and capable." These signals help shift your mental state toward greater confidence. Embodiment plays a key role here, too. Mentally rehearsing success doesn't just involve imagining the outcome. It actively engages your motor control and emotion networks. This engagement helps strengthen the neural pathways associated with confidence, making it easier to access that feeling in real situations. And then there's visualization. Visualizing success combined with embodying that confidence amplifies the effect. When you see yourself succeeding and feel the physical sensations of confidence, it creates a powerful cycle that reinforces your belief in yourself. So, in essence, combining physical cues with mental rehearsal creates a feedback loop that enhances confidence, making you feel more capable and prepared to handle challenges. Today, I want to talk about some powerful language patterns for influence and self-leadership. These are tools we can use to shape how others see us and to strengthen our own internal motivation. The key idea here is that the words we choose can significantly impact our ability to lead ourselves and influence those around us. First, it's important to understand that language isn't just about conveying information. it's a strategic tool. The way we phrase things can inspire action, build rapport, and create trust. When we use language consciously, we can guide conversations and even change perceptions. Next, I want to highlight that these patterns are not tricks or manipulations. Rather, they are about authentic communication that aligns with our goals and values. By mastering these patterns, we can become more persuasive and more self-aware. Finally, remember that influence starts with self-leadership. The way we talk to ourselves, the internal dialogue we maintain, influences our confidence and decision-making. Using powerful language patterns internally helps us stay focused, motivated, and resilient. So, as we continue, think about how you can incorporate these language patterns into your daily interactions to enhance both your influence and your self-leadership. Let's talk about the psychophysiological effects of language. What this means is that the words we use can actually activate specific neural circuits in our brain that are linked to our emotional and physiological states. In other words, language doesn't just influence what we think. It can shape how we feel and even how our bodies respond. Research shows that when we use positive wording, it tends to support activation of the parasympathetic nervous system, which is associated with relaxation and calmness. On the other hand, negative wording can increase stress markers, making us feel more anxious or tense. This interaction is where neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP, comes into play. It leverages the idea that by choosing our words carefully, we can influence our emotional and physiological states, which is a powerful tool for self-leadership and personal development. So the key takeaway here is that words are not just symbols. They shape our emotions, arousal levels, and behaviors. Our language directly interacts with the nervous system, impacting how we feel and act in measurable ways. This connection underscores the importance of mindful language in leading ourselves and others effectively. Let's explore some key NLP language patterns for fostering internal motivation. First, reflective listening and open questions are powerful tools. They help elicit change talk and address ambivalence about what to do next. By truly listening and asking open-ended questions, we guide individuals toward their own motivations and solutions. Reframing is another crucial technique. It involves shifting perspectives so that what might seem like obstacles are seen as valuable information or new opportunities. This shift increases persistence and motivation because it changes how challenges are perceived. Next, there's the meta model. This involves asking precise questions that challenge limiting beliefs, clarify goals, and build self-efficacy. By sharpening awareness, we help individuals see their situation more clearly and feel more capable. Presuppositions are about language that assumes progress or capability. When we speak in a way that presumes success, it nudges people toward believing in their own potential and taking action. The Milton model takes a more artful approach, using vague, hypnotic language to encourage introspection and self-generated solutions. It supports autonomy and insight by allowing the mind to explore ideas freely. Embedded commands are subtle suggestions embedded within conversation. They gently prompt action or positive self-direction with minimal resistance, guiding the subconscious toward desired behaviors. Overall, these strategic language patterns are designed to unlock unconscious resources, clarify thinking, and strengthen intrinsic motivation. When used effectively, they can make a significant difference in helping people move toward change. When I notice I'm feeling overwhelmed or unsure, I should name the specific feeling I'm experiencing, like I'm overwhelmed or I'm frustrated. Then, I need to identify the trigger. Maybe it's a looming deadline or uncertainty about a decision. Once I've done that, I can state one concrete next step, such as I'll focus on completing this one task first, or I'll ask for clarification from a teammate. This process helps me use precise language to describe what I'm feeling and what's causing it. For example, instead of saying I'm a mess, I might say, I'm overwhelmed by 2 tasks, I'll do one next. Or instead of thinking this will fail, I can reframe to the risk is the timeline. I need a simpler option. Using this kind of clear internal dialogue reduces my cognitive load because I'm not trying to juggle vague feelings or uncertain problems. It makes problem-solving and decision-making much more effective because I understand exactly what's happening and what I can do about it. So the key is to be specific, name the feeling, specify the trigger, and set a next step. That's how precise language helps me communicate with myself better and navigate challenges more confidently. Now let's look at stage 3, review and refine. This step is all about editing for precision and simplicity. Think of it as polishing your message so it's clear and easy to understand. We can use NLP tools to check for clarity and make sure our language hits the mark. And don't forget, asking for feedback is crucial. It helps build trust and ensures your message resonates. Moving back to stage 2, structure for impact. Here, we're organizing ideas logically with clear headings and bullet points. This helps emphasize key details and guides your audience through your message seamlessly. And at the foundation, stage 1, define your message. This is where you identify your purpose and key points. It's important to avoid jargon and ambiguity so that even diverse audiences can quickly grasp what you're communicating. Putting it all together, these stages work hand in hand to improve clarity in external communication, making sure your message is not only accurate but also impactful and easy to understand. Let's look at some practical examples of influential language in action. In sales, when a client says, "It's too expensive," a good response is to acknowledge their concern and then ask, "Totally fair, what would make it feel worth it?" This shifts the focus from resistance to finding value. In therapy, when a client says, "I always mess things up," the therapist can validate that feeling and then redirect by asking, "Part of you expects it. When does it not happen?" This helps clients recognize their successes and build confidence. In coaching, when a coachee says, "I'm not ready," the coach can use future packing by asking, "If you were ready, what would be your first step?" This encourages forward movement and helps clients visualize progress. The key takeaway here is that influential language involves validating concerns, redirecting focus, and guiding clients to envision solutions. These techniques connect to the overall theme of effective communication, helping others move from resistance to action through thoughtful, intentional dialogue. Howard Gardner once said that stories are the single most powerful weapon in a leader's arsenal. What he's highlighting here is the incredible influence stories have in shaping perceptions, inspiring action, and building connections. When you think about leadership, it's not just about strategies or data. It's about the stories you tell, stories that resonate on an emotional level and make your message memorable. Stories help us communicate complex ideas in a way that's relatable and engaging. They create a shared experience, foster trust, and motivate people to move toward a common goal. So, in the grand scheme of leadership, mastering the art of storytelling isn't just a nice skill. It's a vital tool that can transform your influence and effectiveness. This idea ties back to our overall theme, understanding the power of communication and connection in leadership. Because at the end of the day, stories are what make your message stick and your vision come alive. On this slide, we're looking at how clinical findings in cognitive therapy and NLP support the idea of restructuring language to break unhelpful thought patterns and foster more solution-focused thinking. Essentially, the way we talk to ourselves can either hold us back or push us forward. Research shows that simple shifts in our language can make a big difference. For example, changing "I can't do this" to "I can learn this" transforms a feeling of helplessness into a sense of possibility. Similarly, replacing "I'm not good enough" with "I'm improving every day" helps build confidence and motivation. We also see that repetitive self-criticism tends to lower motivation and increase stress, making challenges seem bigger and progress seem smaller. The way we speak to ourselves really matters because it influences our emotional state and our ability to move forward. So the key takeaway here is, when we shift our self-talk, we can actually shift our outcomes. By becoming more aware of our language and intentionally choosing more supportive words, we create a more positive mindset that encourages growth and resilience. All right, as we wrap up, I want to emphasize that reprogramming is truly a journey. It's about integrating the tools we've discussed to unlock sustained growth and a deeper sense of purpose in your life. Remember, managing your emotions is key. Regulating your state helps you stay grounded, confident, and resilient, especially when pressure mounts. Building self-awareness is equally important. By noticing your triggers, patterns, and the language you use, you can respond with clarity and intention instead of reacting impulsively. Reframing your beliefs is the final piece, using mindset techniques and NLP to turn limiting stories into empowering, actionable beliefs that support your growth. Keep practicing these steps consistently, and over time, you'll see your mindset transform, empowering you to reach new heights.